What's up, guys? My name's Justin, and thank you for tuning in to the Thriving Coach Podcast.
And I'm Zane. What we try to do here is help navigate men through their relationships as they go through their work-life balance with not only their spouse, but also their kids. Seeing it from two different point of views. Justin with the 3 kids, and me starting fresh, just now about to get married.
Just like Zane said, we're here for you, and we hope you enjoy this episode.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I think it's taking like a different spin on things and, you know, bringing a new perspective to life. I think you are going to really like this, 2 different perspectives really. Cause you know, he has 3 kids,
unfortunately, I was joking.
3 kids, he's a dad to 2 girls and a son. And, you know, I'm on just the early stretch of things where I've recently just got engaged, and so it's kind of a whole 2 different sides. You get to see it from both stories as, you know, men growing up and kind of figuring out what they can do.
If it wasn't for me, you probably still wouldn't be engaged.
No, that's not true.
I kind of pushed that.
Oh, I was hearing it.
If Kaylee's listening, it was all me.
I was hearing it from all sides. Okay, everyone knew. It was just that time. We've been dating long enough. I think it was time we finally got started on it.
I agree. I mean, 5 years is a long time.
Okay, Mr. 6 months.
I was dedicated.
Yeah, you were ready to go. Well, you did land my cousin, so, you know, you had to be dedicated.
Well, for those of you first tuning in, if you have been listening to Pro Football Entertainment, we are now No Race Like Home, and we are going to be your podcast host for men in the workforce or single men, and then also just dads. So there's like everyday life questions and answers, really.
You know,
stories.
I think the biggest thing that we want to kind of come up with in this podcast is more, you know, you hear a lot of the censored stuff on YouTube. You see a lot of the big names coming out, and
life's easy.
We really want to make it just a no censored, you know, just telling the truth of what it is. You know, me growing in my relationship that I'm in now, you know, we've been dating for 4 years, and I still learn something new about her every day. And I'm sure you've been married for 5
years now. Yeah.
And I'm sure you still learn something new every day. So I think it's just coming from 2 different perspectives to where y'all can kind of see it. You know, a guy that's been married for 5 years already. We're going to bring some pretty cool guests on that have been married for a lot longer than what he has. And then you're seeing it from my perspective, you know, a guy that's trying to grow into a family man, be the man of the household that's, you know, called upon, and kind of see where it takes us, you know, and, you know, hopefully y'all can relate to it and, you know, really enjoy the podcast, because, you know, we're just 2 men trying to build a family, each one of us trying to build a different family and kind of grow from it. So we're kind of super excited about this, because there aren't a lot of podcasts that kind of help deal with these things, especially from my eyes. I know there's a lot of guys that are getting engaged. You know, a lot of my friends are getting engaged or about to get engaged, so much with growing a family and having kids. And it's cool to have, you know, Justin, where he's had the kids, he's kind of taken on a whole different perspective of, especially being, you know, not only is he a dad, but he's a guy that stepped into a little girl's life that was trying to find her way, and, you know, he stepped in a big part. So
yeah, we'll kind of talk into that. I mean, those who've been reading my blog saw that I was a girl dad, but what I didn't mention to the blog is I became a dad at 23 years old to a 7-year-old out of nowhere. Like, if you would ask me when I was 22 that I'd be a dad to a 7-year-old at 23, I would have told you, you're out of your mind.
yeah,
I mean, I was playing baseball as a job.
yeah.
And I come home from California, and basically I looked at Cambria and said, I know I got to find a real job. So here we go. For those who don't know, I met my wife. Me and my wife started dating the day I left before California. When I left California, I was like, oh, there's no way she's going to stay with me. Like your cousin.
What were you doing in California?
I was playing baseball.
Is this something that you were playing in college still? Or
it was indie ball, and I was making about maybe $100 a week. Like, I was living off my savings, And I really thought, like, the day I left, your cousin Cambria would be like, there's better things out there. I did not think it was going to be a serious thing. And then, like, month 2 or 3 came along. She was still talking to me. I was like, man, like, maybe this is a real thing. And she had a 7-year-old at the time. And I was like, if I want this to be a thing, I probably should go home and make a real career. Not that baseball is not a real career for people out there, but it's a hard life.
He's basically saying he wasn't that good.
Well, I probably would have made it to the majors, but if we're being serious, I'd probably be still playing at this time. I'm only 28 years old.
Yeah.
I would still be living that dream that most people would say, but honestly, we'll have an episode about that, but minor league baseball is not a dream.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've heard. There's quite a bit of people that I know that have tried to live that dream, and
It's rough. I'd much rather be an arena football player.
be owned by Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I mean, minor league baseball is rough, man. Like, our bus would break down, and we would basically sleep in the bus. Like, we wouldn't make it to the hotel. Like, it's an unreal story, but that's different episode to even begin with this. But really, yeah, just about me becoming a dad at 23. By 28, I got 3 kids, and Zane had just became engaged. So congrats to him. But really, we're just going to just dive into manhood, the work life, what it takes to balance that, and really just talk about life.
Yeah, and like I was saying, I'm really excited about this because, you know, there's a lot of people going through the same type of things that we're going through that maybe don't think that other guys are going through. Because, you know, being a man of the household, it's not
There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Especially around Christmas time.
You know, one of my favorite quotes is a woman and a child will be loved unconditionally, but a man will only be loved if they bring something to the table.
Who quoted that?
I'm not going to say.
Was it like your dad?
No, we'll bring that to a different time.
Okay.
But that's a quote that I heard. And it's something that really speaks truth, because there's a lot of guys, especially in the time of day that we live in, that it's a lot of men aren't necessarily stepping into they're not stepping into the role of being a man, and partially that's just because the time of age that we're in.
No, I agree with that. I mean, divorce rates are as high as they've ever been.
Yeah, and it's quite sad to see as a guy that has not necessarily gone through parents that have divorced, but have definitely seen their trials and tribulations throughout their marriage. It's tough for any kid.
Yeah.
Growing up.
No, I agree with that.
You know, not only is this podcast meant for, you know, the men that are, you know, our age or older, but even the younger generation that we want to
prepare for marriage.
Exactly.
And no, I agree with that. And this is not like, I'm obviously a man of faith, but this is not a Christian podcast. But I am going to bring faith involved, because faith being involved in the marriage is a huge key, I think, in believing in working through things and not just giving up. But in our childhood and growing up, divorce has been a huge thing, and I don't want my kids to ever experience that.
You know, you see the Kanye's and Kim.
Yeah, $200,000 a month in child support.
They make it, but they almost make it like a show where
they do.
You know, divorce is
normal,
everyday life.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want that.
And that's you see that, you know, your father has seen that. My grandparents, parents.
My parents have,
and
both of them came from divorced families.
You know, I think it's part about breaking that.
It's a generational curse.
Breaking that to where, you know, I think something that has been really good about us, about me and Kaylee. Kaylee is my now fiance. Both of us have grown up in a household that was together. Neither one of us had divorces in ours.
That's a huge blessing.
Yeah, and something that yours is, and that's what I'm thinking that's so cool about this podcast is not only do y'all get to see it from one perspective, you know, a guy that hasn't gotten into marriage yet, hasn't gotten the kids, and then a guy that has the kids, a guy that has the marriage that already happened, but the households are completely different. And you get to see the trials and the different things that we experience through every day from our relationships that maybe be able to help y'all direct y'all's relationships, or see something that we do that y'all necessarily don't like and y'all want to try something different. This is something that's going to be completely open. We're not going to hold anything back. We're going to be very upfront and honest with you guys, and show you the dirty truth of relationships, and also, marriage. It's not a Disney World, Disneyland.
No, it's not.
Happily ever after. It's something that you constantly have to fight for.
No, we're constantly working at it, man. Like, it's especially this last 2 years of my marriage, man. It's been me and Cambria working at it, because adding 2 kids in 2 years is a big battle. I mean, I went from coming home from work to dealing with a 8-year-old to coming home from work and dealing with a 2.5-year-old in diapers and a 4-month-old that I have to feed constantly. So it's like you come home from one job to the other, and it's a different balance, a totally different balance.
Yeah, and we're not necessarily in that balance yet, and I've had a great example of you and Cambria kind of showing that. I think for ours, it's just about setting boundaries. Now that we are, newlyweds getting together, it's about setting boundaries for me and her to, not only say that we're becoming one and we need to do what's best for me and her, and make sure that we don't have necessarily, that outside interfering with our relationship. And that's the biggest part for kids. I always tell people, not only do you need to show your kids how to love the children, but also how to love your spouse. And I think that's a lot of things that's missed when you have kids, because it's hard to, a lot of people just put their kids first, and they don't put their spouse necessarily first.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I grew up in tons of relationships, even like with girls I dated growing up, and I see their parents literally putting them before their spouse and embarrassing their spouse, or just disrespecting their spouse in front of them. And that's something I never want. Like, I want my kids to look at me and be like, man, like, out of all things, my dad wasn't perfect, but he loved the hell out of my mom. Like, that's what I want them to see. That, like, I want them to see what true love is like, and how I treated their mom, and hopefully one day that reflects to their relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I feel like that's one thing dads in our generation maybe don't realize, is that their kids look up to them.
And, it's almost like, this is a Girls Dad podcast. At the end of the day, in my eyes, how I see it now, I don't know if you see it like this or not, but from my daughter's perspective, I have to protect her from everybody.
Oh, yeah.
My son, I have to protect him from himself.
Yeah. Yeah, I got 2 daughters, 1 son, and with my daughter, she's about to be in high school. I mean, she's 2 years away.
Jesus.
And it's not fun, man. I mean, she got her whole language to herself, and I have no idea what she's saying.
Her whole lingo.
It's like bus, sus, and if you read my blog, you kind of get an understanding. But man, yeah, it's not what I thought it would be. She is turning into full girl, and I have no idea what to do, to be honest with you.
I heard you telling a story to Kaylee the other day about you realizing that you were no longer young. I didn't hear it. Go ahead and tell me that story.
Well, we were at the Texas TCU game, and this is kind of where reality hit me. I skipped a line to get a few adult beverages.
Did you really? Wow.
And there's about 50 people in line. So I skipped a line, and I told these college chicks, which I don't feel like I'm much older than, but I told them, I said, hey, I'm getting some drinks for my wife. I don't want to miss kickoff. I'll buy y'all drinks. There's 3 of them. I said, I'll buy you drinks if you let me skip you. They're like, oh, yeah, the college girl thing, smiling, giggling. And then I tell them, happy wife, happy life. And they go, yeah, my dad tells me that all the time. And man, did that hit me. I was like, you just compared me to your dad. And that's when I realized I'm no longer that college baseball player.
No.
I'm now a dad. And these girls look at me like that.
Yeah, you're just.
It was kind of eye-opening that I'm old. And I know I'm 5 years older than you, so you don't understand that yet. But yeah, man, it hit me.
Oh my god!
And not to mention the next day? No, a week later we played our flag football game.
Yeah, that was fun.
And I couldn't even walk afterwards.
Yeah,
so.
See, I was still kicking the next day. I was, my occupation, what I do, I get up on roofs.
No, he sells roofs. Don't let him talk you up.
I get up on roofs. Justin is...
he's a paper pusher.
Justin is a guy that just sits in front of a desk and tells the guys what to do. And
now, by your age, I wasn't.
Okay. I just feel like I chose the smarter career path. So, with me, I just had to, get up on there and jump up on a roof, and I was fine the next day. But I texted him the next day and I said, "Hey man, how you feeling?" And he was not feeling good.
I was down bad.
Yeah. You were down bad during the game.
It was embarrassing. It was honestly, Cambria woke me up the next day and I said, I'm embarrassed. Like I used to be a pro athlete and now I can't play flag football without feeling crippled.
See, with me, I'm playing this weekend on Sunday. We are actually...
Well, you're still young. You got no kids.
We are
If I was you, I'd be golfing twice a week.
No, not in this weather. It's too cold to be golfing.
And this is my golf season.
Yeah, it's
because I'm not racing.
Yeah, you're not racing. No, with me, I'm good. It's cold. I don't want to be miserable. I'm playing actually flag football this weekend, so that's pretty exciting. That's where my youth comes in, I guess you could say.
Am I playing this weekend?
I don't know. Are you playing?
I'm fresh.
Well, just come. It's going to be at the middle school in Roy City.
Have you QB1?
You're probably not going to be QB.
Who would be QB? I obviously outperformed you this weekend, or last weekend.
Oh my God, no, you didn't.
Yeah. Who threw more picks?
Who had a higher fantasy score?
I went 4-1.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
The game that I did beat you 28-0. So
I went 4-1. I played the long game.
It's the first time he's beat me. I took it kind of personal.
And everybody on my team was about the average age of 35 and up.
No, you had one of my buddies that you picked up.
He didn't do much, honestly.
Yes, he did.
He was a decoy.
Well, no, he was not. I picked up a friend that I did not. I had not played football with him before.
A friend or a family member?
No, it was Santi.
Santi went deep like 15 times.
Santi dropped the ball 15 times.
He also caught 15 balls in the end zone.
No, it was pretty bad, but yeah, it was a tough year for me. It's all right though.
So I was reading an article this week.
Okay.
Kind of do with men, and it was kind of funny. It said, so someone tweeted, it said, what do men actually want? What would your answer be to that?
Me and Kaylee have had a lot of this.
I guarantee your answer is nowhere near what I'm about to say.
No, we'll see. Me and Kaylee have had a lot of talks about this, we're just now about to start getting to go into counseling, which I think every guy should do before marriage.
Yeah, no, pre-marriage counseling is huge. I will say it causes fights, but it's good fights.
And that's what I think, her relationship with the parents that she's had, and which I think was kind of different from mine. Her parents, they fought it out. They had what they had to say, and then they moved on.
But they forgave. Yeah, that's how my parents were.
My parents were the opposite. They would just keep it in. And so I think it's really good. I think for me, as what I want is just to feel respected. When I come to the home, I feel respected to a certain extent, right? At the same time, like you were saying, the saying, happy wife, happy life. That's...
Which is completely false, by the way.
You need to make sure to...
It's just happy wife, happy wife.
You need to make sure to keep her happy, but I think it's more about just, to me, it's the small things. Like with Kaylee today, or these past couple days with Thanksgiving coming up, something that I find, it's a small thing, but I find it huge and it means a lot to me, is her making my plate.
That's funny, because I saw her making your plate, and she said, yeah, Zane mentioned this and said, so I'm trying to make this like a deal.
And it's something
And
that
with me, it hit me. Like, man, I'm blessed to have the wife I have because I never had to have that conversation with her.
and it's not so much I'm a
And it's not a feminist thing.
no, it's not. I'm a Latino. I'm a Mexican. That's how my whole family is. That's how I grew up.
Yeah.
Okay, so Canberra, you got that.
And I grew up with a wife or a country mom where that was just a normal thing. My dad went to work. My mom did mom things.
That's the normal thing for the Mexican culture. Is typically the women make the men a plate.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've always thought, like, man, I've always wanted that as a kid. I saw my mom do that to my dad. I saw that my grandma do that to my grandpa. And it's not so much
it's not a power thing.
No, it's not a power.
It's really not.
And
it's you want to feel served.
And you know, not only do I want to feel served, but I need to be able to make sure to serve her.
Yeah, in different ways.
And so I think that's the biggest thing, because a lot of people, especially with these type of days, and I have nothing wrong against this at all. Women showing empowerment, being their own women. I tell Kaylee this all the time. I don't want to be needed. I want to be wanted. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people that want the woman to, you know, be submissive almost. I don't necessarily think that's the right wording for it. I think it's respected. And a lot of women and men, certainly men, they mistake those for submissive versus respected.
Do what I tell you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think that's my biggest thing, is just being respected. And luckily I have found a woman that does, and it's been a roller coaster, but it's been a great one.
Yeah. It's like the Titan.
What is yours?
So what do men really want? This is kind of not a serious factor, but you took it to a serious factor. It says they want Tiger Woods to win another major, which I cannot disagree with.
Yeah, no. Come on, Tiger.
We all want Tiger to win again.
Do we really want Tiger, or do we want Charlie?
No, we want Tiger.
I wouldn't mind Charlie,
but
I put money on that.
But what do men really want? Zane kind of hit on the head. Is just to feel respected. Like, I mean, for me, for example, my wife doesn't work. Does she do it by choice? No, I kind of forced her because I want her to be able to spend time with our family and be there for our kids. I never want them to have to be raised by somebody else. But at the end of the day, yeah, she respects me. I respect her. I come home. I realize what she does all day, and I try to sacrifice my time and be there for her. And every day, is it perfect? No. I come home. I'm exhausted from work. I mean, I run an HVAC department, but at the end of the day, I come home. My job is my kids, and it's not easy.
Do you run, or do you just tell people what to do?
I run. Really, people tell me what to do, and then I tell them what to do.
I couldn't tell from
I pass down
I couldn't tell from flag football. You don't do much running.
Oh, yeah, I don't run a lot anymore these days, but
it's a swift walk.
Yeah, it's a swift walk for sure. But no, for real, at the end of the day, it's just you want to be respected. And luckily, my wife understands what I do, and I understand what she does, and we balance it out. So,
yeah. And, yeah, I think that's, you know, like anyone, it's just the biggest word that I could say just from a man's perspective is respect. And respect comes in different ways. Not every man needs to have their plate made for him. Not, you know, there's so many different ways to show the respect for the man and also the women.
I agree with that.
You know, I would love to also get a female's perspective too, and this is something that we're completely open to. Again, like I said, we're wanting to just make sure to put everything that we solely believe in, whether you disagree or, you know, you agree. We'd love for y'all to comment, mention what y'all think about everything that we're kind of saying, so we can see all perspectives, because we're definitely completely open to everything. Not saying that we're just, you know, we're not old, stuck in our ways.
No, I'm not at all. But I mean, but that is a real thing. Like, for example, Zane knows how to cook, and Zane's probably going to cook for him and Kaylee. all the time.
Yeah.
And I couldn't cook for crap. But it really just shows how you grew up. Like, I grew up with 2 older sisters and a mom, and my chores were outside. My chores were not inside. And on Saturdays, I woke up, worked outside, worked with my dad, and my sisters worked inside with my parents, and they cooked and cleaned. And when we came inside, there was food. And that's not me being raised in a different way. It's just like,
well, I think with mine too,
you were the middle child.
I was the baby.
Is Aisha older than you?
Aisha's older,
and you still know how to cook.
So that's
mind blowing.
I think with my perspective, so I grew up with 3 older sisters.
That's right.
One's a half.
Yeah.
And my sisters never wanted to kind of take that responsibility with me. I've always loved cooking. You know, I think one of my, and
I get this Hispanic side of you.
I get this from my grandfather. I think one of my biggest joys is sitting around a table after something that you've cooked and everyone's smiling and saying, "Oh man, this is good."
Definitely wasn't the Super Bowl. I thought it was good, but you didn't think that.
I thought it was horrible. It was probably the worst brisket
I thought it was
smoked.
great.
You know,
that's a whole nother episode, but basically Zane made me, Zane talked me into smoking a brisket for the Super Bowl last year.
Okay.
And it was a 24-hour experience.
Here's the issue. We ran out of pellets. We brought the pellet smoke over here.
And that's funny story is me at 28 years old, pellets are a complete story. They make me live my life. But pellets on Zane's end cook brisket. So,
you know,
pellets on my end give me testosterone.
Me with pellets. We just brought it over. It was easy to make. And anyways, we ended up running out of pellets. He needed it done by like 1:00 because the Super Bowl was at what time?
I think like 3.
Yeah. So we needed it done by like 1:00 for everyone to come by, and ended up running out of pellets. And so I fell asleep and did not wake up till about 7:00
But
in the morning.
we tried staying up all night. We were playing 2K, Madden.
All I have
we
to
tried
say,
everything we could.
I was running 102 fever that night. I was sick as a dog, and I still powered through. It turned out okay, but it was probably the worst brisket I've ever made.
It was good to me.
The chicken was really good. Remember, we made chicken as well.
Yeah.
I made chicken
honestly,
as well.
we were both ghosts that whole day. So
Yeah, I was pretty exhausted afterward.
yeah, and then we had to work the next day.
Yeah,
It was a rough day.
I think I'm taking off Monday.
Yeah, honestly, that's a whole nother episode too. The Monday after Super Bowl should be a day off.
I agree. No man should ever have to work on Super Bowl Monday.
And yeah, the Super Bowl should be on the Saturday. Let's just change the whole history of it.
We'll talk to Roger Goodell about it.
Yeah, Super Bowl Sunday is overrated.
But anyways, yeah, no, with as far as like the cooking thing goes with my sisters have never really cared to cook. And like I was saying, I've always it's always felt good when someone has said, "Oh man, yeah, you cooked something good," and it was good. So as a kid, I remember I was 9, 8 years old, and my whole family would be sitting there and we'd be watching a movie. And I would get hungry and I would say, I want something to eat. So I would literally just make cheese tacos. Mm-hmm. I would literally just get a corn tortilla with Mexican blend cheese and make cheese. I guess you could say they're quesadillas, but I always call them the cheese taco. And then that's where I just kind of fell into it. I wanted to always learn.
But you also were home alone a lot, right? Your dad was in the oil field?
Yeah. So my dad worked in the oil field for about 10 to 12 years of my life.
Your mom always worked.
My mom worked as well. So for a lot of times it was me and my sisters, me, Selena, and Asia there.
That's the difference. My mom started staying at home. My mom got really sick and almost died from double pneumonia. So by the time I was 9, my mom stayed home.
Yeah.
So that's also a big difference.
Yeah. And I think as far as the cooking wise, I guess you could say I'm a little bit of a person that likes to not necessarily control the narrative, but have a little bit more sense of wanting to be involved in things. So when it came to flavor of like food and stuff, especially when I moved out, I had 2 roommates in the first place that I moved out towards. and I would sit there and just make food. I learned how to make ribs 3 different ways.
But did your dad ever cook growing up? Or grill out or anything?
My dad, for the most part, these are his 3 staples, and they've always been his 3 staples. He makes fajitas, which they're already...
I've heard about that. I need to try them.
They're already marinated. So he just puts them on the grill. And then he makes flautas.
Did he make the flautas that your mom posted today?
Today he did not. He was working this morning. What we do, so whatever turkey we have left over, we keep it, and then we make flautas after, and then go ahead and...
But your mom made them?
My mom made them today.
Okay.
And then the other one is chicken enchiladas. Those are the 3 things that my dad knows how to make, and that's all he makes.
See, my dad was a big dessert guy. That's about it.
Did he make the desserts, or did he just eat it?
Yeah. According to him, when they first got married, he cooked a lot.
Okay.
Until he started working a lot. And then my mom had to learn how to cook because she didn't know how to cook.
Yeah. And, Kaylee's very good at, she's very good at pastas.
Yeah.
So any pasta, lasagna, spaghetti.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. My wife's good at that too. And she's not a cook.
She's pretty good at those things. And then she's very good at baking. So she can make you a cake that tastes phenomenal. She can make all that stuff. But when it comes to like the big nitty gritty of things, which this is something that, it's not something where I could say I love to serve my fiance, my soon to be wife. I love to be able to cook for her. And she's my biggest critique. If I mess up on something, trust me, I hear it from her.
Yeah, see, I just eat whatever Cambria makes. If it tastes bad, I just slowly not eat it.
No, see, I hear it. Because she knows how I cook good though. So when it's not good and I try something new and she's like, yeah, no, don't try that again.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I can't. I am one advocate is if you don't cook and you come home and you don't like what you're eating, either eat it or shut up.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to complain because I didn't make it. I didn't spend my time making it. And I'll never let her know I didn't like it. I just eat it and move on to another day.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, see, I'm a little bit more vocal with her and she's a little bit more vocal with me.
Well, you can do that since you know how to cook. I would just starve or eat out every single day.
Yeah, you'd be eating chicken nuggets from McDonald's.
Oh, anytime Cambry's out of town, it's me, Jet, Kinsey, and Oakley eating dino nuggets. For sure.
Do you at least put them in the oven or you just put them in the
microwave all day?
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, but Monday Night Football never tastes better.
Monday Night Football. You better just order some freaking Wing Snob or whatever you call that.
Wing Snob is new, and yes, I will be ordering Wing Snob for our future nights when Cambria is out of town.
That is hilarious, but...
another article I read this week is a tweet by a man who has like a dad podcast just like us. He said, my dad has exercised every day since I was young. At 78, he plays with my kids on the floor while many of his friends are needing assistance. Fitness doesn't seem like it matters until one day it becomes obvious. This has actually been something that was enlightened to me this week or last week. I was like, I don't want to be that dad that can't move around.
Yeah.
Like, Jet's about to start sports, and I want to be able to practice with him and to not feel like I'm hurting my body. And yeah, I'm 28, but I have really been like lackadaisical the last 4 years in my health. And it really sparked a fire in me that I want to be healthy. Like, I want my kids to see me moving around and be able to keep up with them.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And that's one of me and Kaylee's, well, I shouldn't say me and Kaylee's.
Kaylee's in way better shape than you.
Okay. One of my biggest fears is, and I told her, because I've been on this journey since starting the pro football entertainment and stuff like that, where at my highest I weighed 247 pounds.
Yeah, I was 130 when I got married, or 230.
And I've been fortunate enough to go ahead and settle down, and I'd like to call that, relationship weight. Got happy.
It's true. I was 180 when I got in a relationship with Cambria.
And so
I was 230 when I got married.
That's something that I've had to cut. And I told her when we were sitting there, I remember staring at the mirror one day, and I was looking at it, and I said, if I had an 8. If I had a kid, I don't think I'd be able to play with a kid.
Yeah.
We want to be the dad. I want to be the dad that's outside with them, throwing the ball with them.
Yeah, you want to be an athletic dad.
Not even athletic dad, but I want to be able to compete with that kid till at least he's 17.
He's not beating me until he's 17 years old. Yeah.
At least 17. If he reaches till 20, then I just know.
If you're my dad was not like my dad was athletic, but he'd been through a lot, so he didn't get to play sports growing up. But he was physically going to outbeat me.
Yeah.
I would go for a layup. He was going to knock me on my ass.
Yeah.
My dad definitely didn't just let me walk all over him.
Yeah.
Any sport we played, like I might have been more athletic, but he was going to outdo me.
What would you say, as growing up with the 3 kids and all that, what would you say is the most fun that you've had with them so far?
Oh man, it really depends on the age. So Kinsey, my oldest, the most fun I've had with her is seeing her honestly grow.
I wouldn't say so much like a point in time that you can kind of pinpoint to where you'll forever remember that moment.
Yeah. So with Kinsey, it's when she started having her own friends, and I started becoming that, like, when you grow up and you have that one friend's like parent where you're like, oh, I'm actually close with them.
Yeah.
So with Kinsey, it was like her friends started calling me Mr. Justin.
Mr. Justin.
But it's like, that's when I was like, man, I'm a dad. Like,
what's Mr. Wayne, Mr. Bruce?
Yeah, Mr. Bruce. But yeah, when Kinsey's friends started calling me Mr. Justin, I was like playing pickleball with them and hanging out and having fires, and that was probably the most fun I've had with Kinsey so far. And with Jet, man, it's just coming home and it's a whole new day. Like, we have this game called Monster, and he somehow calls it Cookie Monster. I don't know. I don't know where he threw in the cookie, but man, like, I literally just throw him on the bed for like 45 minutes, and it literally takes away all my troubles and the whole day working. Or like if I have stress, I come home and it's like you just forget about it. And that's probably been the most fun, is like you come home and you had this rough day, or you had this busy day with projects and timelines or due dates, and hey, I got to get this done, or we're not getting anywhere. And then I come home and it's like all that just disappears. Like, hey, I put my dad hat on, I play Cookie Monster, or I take Kinsey's friends out for ice cream and play pickleball, and it's really just like the most fun I've had is just taking in those moments. Like, it's moments you don't think of until you just actually live them. Like, to see their face, like Jet's, man, he makes me melt. Whenever he looks at me, he sprints to me at the door, and I might have had the worst day ever, and he sprints to me and hugs my leg, and it's like the whole day resets.
Yeah.
Like, it's an unreal feeling.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's it's something I've never experienced.
Like people tell you, like, I guess the greatest example is when people tell you, like, hey, the Father loves you, like the Lord, like no one ever loved you like the Lord loves you, like it's a father's love. Yeah. Once you have kids, man, it really hits you. Like, I couldn't imagine anybody messing with my kids and me not beating their ass. I've
heard that. I've heard that saying that there's no love than when you lay eyes on your child. Yeah, like your first child or something.
Oh, like when I had Jet, man, it was just like Kenzie's mine. Like, she'll always be mine. But when Jet was born and I looked him in the eyes, it was like, man, like, this kid's actually mine. Like, nothing's ever going to get in the way.
Yeah, and that's something that, I've personally never experienced, haven't had kids or anything like that. So it's definitely something that I'm looking forward to in that aspect of it.
Yeah, just get really used to Blippi.
No.
Oh, I promise you.
No. They will be outside in the mud the whole day.
You say that until you have to be outside in the mud all day.
I don't care. I'll be outside all day in the mud. I refuse to listen to Blippi.
Oh, man, Blippi.
I've heard it enough.
But yeah, man, that's honestly been the funnest thing, is just coming home and you kind of get to relive your childhood. Like, I'm playing with Hot Wheels and building racetracks, and you kind of have an excuse to order more Hot Wheels racetracks.
So that's one thing I never played with. So I never played with Hot Wheels. I never played with, monster trucks or stuff like that. I never played with any really video games until even when I was older. I really didn't play with them. I was always outside.
Yeah, so was I. And it's kind of, kids are different these days.
I never played with Legos.
Yeah, I never played Legos because they're expensive. And we didn't really grow up having money until I was in high school.
I didn't even play with. I think my parents just didn't want to step on them.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That and Army Men. Don't ever buy your son Army Men. Stepping on him is awful.
Yeah, no, see, I'm good. I don't want to step on anything that's going to be hurting my toes. I stubbed my toe on a, I think going back to like fantasy football real quick. Anytime a player is about to go off and I need them to not do good, I always just hope that they stub their toe walking into the stadium or something. Someone wished I stubbed my toe the other day because I stubbed it on Thanksgiving so hard I thought I broke my toe.
This week?
Yeah.
How?
Thanksgiving. I was walking and I wasn't paying attention and I just stubbed my toe on the couch and I fell over. And you know that Peter Griffin from Family Guy, that scene where he like hits his knee and he just
yeah, it's every day as a dad.
That was me.
Today I just laid down for 30 minutes while Jet beat me with the pillow.
Oh my God, that's funny.
He wants a play fight and I'm not allowed to hit him with the pillow. He just hits me.
Fair enough.
As soon as I hit him, he says no more play.
Fair enough. So I just fair enough. That's how it goes as a kid.
So do you and Kaylee plan on having kids soon? Y'all getting married in what, August?
September
next
year.
And you're 23.
I'm 23.
So when do y'all plan on having kids?
In a perfect world for me in my aspect, I always tell people right now when it comes to kids, I'm too selfish to have kids right now.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, at 22, I told my sisters I didn't want kids.
Yeah. So. And, I've always said that right now I'm too selfish to have a kid because I wouldn't be able to give the right
mindset,
attention to the kid. And so
do you think that's because of your job?
I wouldn't even say so much it's because of my job. People always say
you have a high intensity job.
Yeah, that's true. But people always say, guys think of more of a financial clock. Women are a biological clock.
Yeah, they don't have no sense of finances.
Yeah, and so I think that's where it's at to where right now I want to make sure, growing up as a kid, like you were saying, you didn't grow up in money. I didn't necessarily grow up in money either. Where if my kid wants the shoes for sports or wants the shoes for school, I can make sure to get those. And don't get me wrong, my childhood was filled with love and, all that.
No, I get that. My parents made it happen, but it was like selling stuff on eBay to get me a new bat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm at this point in my life to where I want to make sure that I can financially be able to take care of my wife, be able to take care of my kids. And everyone always says, you're never.
Oh, I'll agree with that. You're never ready.
You're never ready, and you make plans, and God laughs.
Yeah.
So
I definitely wasn't ready to be a dad.
As of right now, if it were to go on my timing and my plan, I would not want a kid till I'm 28.
Yeah, I can see that. But on the flip side, I had my last kid at 28. And I'm going to be a young dad, and it's nice.
You trying to be a DILF or what?
Maybe. But, I mean, at the end of the day, when all my friends are having kids finally, because not unfortunately, but my generation, they're all having kids like past 30. And I'm going to be that dad that's at 45 and living life.
So funny story about that, talking about 30 or 40.
Yeah, none of my friends have kids yet.
I talked to one of my customers that I went to. She is from New York, so she's from up north. And she was talking to me and she said, I find it so crazy. I thought she was maybe 26, 25, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
She said, I find it so crazy how people in the South get married so early.
Oh, it's a real thing.
And I was like, well, what do you mean? And she was like, well, I didn't even meet my husband till I was 29.
It's because up north, they're all career driven.
And I said, okay. I said, well, how old are you now? And she said, well, I'm 31 and we've been married for a year. And I said, wow. And I've never taken that perspective to look back. And she was like, you haven't even lived yet.
Yeah.
And I said, you're right. But for me at the same time, if I'm able to meet, my wife and who I want to be with, which I have, why wouldn't
5 years is a long time.
Yeah. Why wouldn't I want to live it with her? And so I thought that, she was like, in New York, no one gets married at 23.
No
one.
They all want to be in Wall Street or career driven in the marketplace. Like it's a huge difference.
Yeah. And she was like, I find it so wild. I can't even fathom, me thinking of settling down, being with a man at the age of 23. Cause where I was 8 years ago, I wasn't there. And I said,
she probably just graduated from, what's it called? What's the school down there? Not Georgetown.
I'm not sure.
Man, it's on Suits.
Harvard? Yale?
No, Yale.
Yale?
Yeah.
And she was like, I couldn't have fathomed it. And I said, maybe it is different down south when you come down here. And, there's tradition when it comes.
Yeah, it goes back to our childhood.
Yeah, it goes back to the childhood. I mean, when did your parents meet and get married?
Oh man, my parents got married at 18.
Yeah. See, I mean,
yeah, but
you still see that now, but it's rare that you see that now, even just from down south.
Now it's 25, 26.
Yeah. And, I've had people that I went to school with that have 2 kids or 3 kids and are married at the age of 23.
Yeah.
And they're making
it's definitely way more normal than north or the south.
Yeah, absolutely.
The north is they see life different.
Yeah. I like you were saying, it's all about just how you were raised. And I would love for someone that maybe is from up north to go ahead and kind of give your perspective on that, because for us, it's a little bit, we've grown up where we've never seen that. So for y'all to be able to give y'all's perspective from that, I think it'd be pretty cool. Cause like we were saying earlier at the beginning, we're
open.
We're open to listen to everything and kind of see the perspectives from all throughout. And I think it's going to be pretty cool. And that's what I was saying with this podcast that we're doing now. I think we've really opened up the horizon to where we can see all different perspectives. And I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, no, me too.
Especially learning,
Yeah.
But
no, I really think this is going to open a whole new horizon, and we'll be able to bring people in on the podcast and see their perspective on fatherhood and the working life and see how they balance it. Cause it's not easy, man. As a man who's in it, and trying to balance it every day, it's not easy. I mean, like, for example, day after Thanksgiving, most people don't work. I went to the office, and luckily I have a wife who understands that I need to go to work, but some people don't. They don't have that. They don't have that connection, and it's a never-ending battle. Because there was 45 plus men in the office today, and I guarantee not all the wives agreed with it.
yeah,
I mean, they're probably wondering like, hey, it's the day after Thanksgiving, you can't have the day off, and it's a never-ending struggle of it's a self-guilt, like, hey, I should probably be home with my family, but I also need to go make some money.
I need to make sure to provide.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that's part of it.
Yeah, and luckily I married a woman who her dad went to work, and she understands.
Yeah,
like she understood that her dad was going to work every day and needed to provide for the family.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, but we're gonna wrap this podcast up, and we're excited about, or I'm for sure excited about where this is gonna go, and we can enter the manhood and fatherhood and the future fathers, and hopefully be an example and answer some of their questions that they have, and be able to be a light to them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I was saying, this is from all different perspectives. And, you know, you've got, like I was saying, him that's been married for 5, me that is just now getting in a newlywed. And, you know, we're going to have some people on that have been married for 20, 40 plus years of marriage, that hopefully we can go ahead and shine some knowledge, on, or, you know,
I'm sure we'll learn a lot from them.
yeah. And that's what I was saying. We'll learn a lot from them. And I mean, even y'all, if y'all comment and, you know, give y'all's side of things, we'll make sure to keep up to date with that. And, we're super excited about it and ready for this next chapter in life to be able to talk about these things.
For sure. So we appreciate you for listening in. As always, just comment on my blog or give us your insight on the podcast, and we appreciate you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Later.